Good evening, you're watching This Week, a weekly news program. I'm your host, Anwar Hamatar. And for our top stories, President of Mongolia issues a decree to plant 1 billion trees and sets a goal to create a Green Mongolia. Mongolian artists participate in the Asiatska FilmFestivalen for the first time. The Mongolian women's team won a bronze cup at the World Freestyle Wrestling Championship. And for the news, stay tuned. President of Mongolia, Khursukhna, has issued a decree on developing a national program to combat climate change and desertification. The decree was introduced to the public by the President's Chief of Staff Sotwater and Minister of Nature, Environment and Tourism Ortnasa. Mongolia is the country most affected by climate change and global warming. Within the framework of this movement, funding for environmental protection and combating climate change should be a policy. Therefore, the presidential decree stipulates that up to 1% of gross domestic product should be spent on the environment. Currently, there is a legal provision to spend a certain percentage of GDP on education and health. The government's proposal to the president also includes recommendations from industry experts and a working group at the Ministry of Nature, Environment and Tourism.
In his statement delivered at the general debate of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York on September 22nd, President Khurshukh announced Mongolia's launch of a campaign to plant 1 billion trees by 2030. In order to reduce global climate change and increase Mongolia's contribution and participation in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the direction was given to develop the nation's tree planting program in line with the Vision 2050 long-term development policy. The government has also been instructed to incorporate tree planting in the From Welfare to Employment policy, provide policy support to citizens and businesses, promote tree planting, create water resources for irrigation, and introduce advanced technology to create ponds.
We have set up working groups to launch a national campaign to plant 1 billion trees and to ensure its implementation for the next 10 years. As of today, 76.9% of Mongolia's territory is affected by desertification. It is estimated that if we manage to achieve this goal, 120 million hectares of highly desertified land will be reduced by 4%, forest cover will be increased by 9%, and greenhouse gas emissions will be reduced by 600,000 tons.
The minister also noted that large private companies have taken the initiative to plant 20 million to 120 million trees in the next 10 years, emphasizing that public-private partnership will be ensured in the realization of the campaign. The president's office stated that the planting of 1 billion trees will be carried out in 3 phases. The preparation phase will take place in 2021 through 2024, and the second phase, the intensification phase, will be implemented in 2024 through 2026. The third phase, the sustainable implementation phase, is scheduled for 2027 through 2030.
The inauguration ceremony for the National Billion Trees campaign took place in the 14th Khoro of Khaol district of Ulaanbaatar city on Monday. Representatives of non-governmental organizations and city residents took part in the ceremony.
In his speech, President Khurshukh noted that it was a historic day for the nation when people were uniting and working together for future generations.
It's just the beginning. In the future, everyone, every household, organization and business entity must plant trees. Improving the legal environment, providing proper policies, planning, the training of professional personnel and labor, the establishment of seedlings, fertilizers, greenhouses and forestry incubator centers, the introduction of new techniques and technology, and the water supply should be our priority in the future.
Within the framework of the National Billion Tree Campaign, it's estimated that it's possible to grow not only trees but also fruit trees, berry bushes, herbs, and fodder to meet domestic demand. Within the framework of the National Billion Tree Campaign, it's estimated that it's possible to grow not only trees but also fruit trees, berry bushes, herbs, and fodder to meet domestic demand. As a result, many jobs will be created and people's lives will improve. The president added that parks will be established in 330 SOMs and social welfare policy will be linked to tree planting. He also said that state awards and medals should be given to people who devote their time, energy, and money to protecting the government. He welcomed the Billion Tree campaign and thanked the people, organizations, and companies who have joined the campaign. Sumya Bazar, the mayor of Ulaanbaatar and governor of the capital city, said that each district has set a goal to build a park and increase the 5.6 square meters of green space per capita by 10 times in the coming years. Dorjov, an academician, foreign member of the Russian Academy of Sciences and a leading employee of the Botanical Garden, said that arborists will donate 200,000 saplings to the campaign. He and his family have promised to plant 50,000 conifers on Shilimbogd Mountain in the next 10 years and called on everyone to take an active part in the national campaign. The inauguration of the National Billion Tree campaign will continue through October 11th.
The inauguration ceremony for the National Billion Trees campaign took place in the 14th Hora of Khalt district of Ulaanbaatar city on Monday. Representatives of non-governmental organizations and city residents took part in the ceremony.
In his speech, President Hursuk noted that it was a historic day for the nation when people were uniting and working together for future generations.
It's just the beginning. In the future, everyone, every household, organization and business entity must plant trees. Improving the legal environment, providing proper policies, planning, the training of professional personnel and labor, the establishment of seedlings, fertilizers, greenhouses and forestry incubator centers, the introduction of new techniques and technology, and the water supply should be our priority in the future.
Within the framework of the National Billion Tree campaign, it's estimated that it's possible to grow not only trees but also fruit trees, berry bushes, herbs, and fodder to meet domestic demand. Within the framework of the National Billion Tree campaign, it's estimated that it's possible to grow not only trees but also fruit trees, berry bushes, herbs, and fodder to meet domestic demand. As a result, many jobs will be created and people's lives will improve. The president added that parks will be established in 330 SOMs and social welfare policy will be linked to tree planting. He also said that state awards and medals should be given to people who devote their time, energy, and money to protecting the government. He welcomed the Billion Tree campaign and thanked the people, organizations, and companies who have joined the campaign. Sumya Bazar, the mayor of Ulaanbaatar and governor of the capital city, said that each district has set a goal to build a park and increase the 5.6 square meters of green space per capita by 10 times in the coming years. Dorjov, an academician, foreign member of the Russian Academy of Sciences and a leading employee of the Botanical Garden, said that arborists will donate 200,000 saplings to the campaign. He and his family have promised to plant 50,000 conifers on Shilimbogd Mountain in the next 10 years and called on everyone to take an active part in the national campaign. The inauguration of the National Billion Tree campaign will continue through October 11th.
The consumption of domestic products should start with soap and paper towels. The state started paying special attention to meeting its needs with domestic products.
All soap used in Mongolia should come only from local producers. This will be a great support for our light industry, especially for soap and cosmetics manufacturers.
The maximum price for domestically produced soap is 5,000 tugriks, but a decrease in price due to competition is a possibility. Homemade soaps tend to have a higher fat content than organic soaps. The main criterion for participation in the tender is a low price. As a result, manufacturers have to compete with cheaper products. For example, some clothing manufacturers are reluctant to bid for government contracts because competition for garments leads to the supply of substandard goods at unsustainably low prices.
Tenders come with a lot of costs. It is unknown whether the manufacturer will win or not. Competition for a lower price often related to the quality.
Manufacturers said that in addition to competing for a lower price, it would be more expensive to send products away for testing. However, manufacturers welcomed the fact that the public procurement tender has been extended for a further 3 years and will cover many companies. This year, the Public Procurement Agency is organizing procurement for 482.7 billion tugriks covering 162 projects.
Tenders for domestically produced products that meet quality standards compared to imported products are not announced. Legislation requires that products that meet standards are purchased only domestically, and purchases are organized accordingly.
Since 2015, the government has pursued a policy of supporting domestic production through procurement. In this context, 100% of domestic companies participate in tenders held by the State Procurement Agency. However, if the purchase price exceeds 10 billion MNT, foreign companies have the opportunity to participate as well.
Mongolian artists are participating in the Asian Film Festival held in Sweden for the first time. The annual Asian Film Festival is an international event held in Stockholm. This year, the Embassy of Mongolia in the Kingdom of Sweden is working with the organizers to promote Mongolia through films.
The film festival, which is being held from September 28th to October 30th, features Mongolian films such as Woman, Emin and Shilus, selected by the organizers.
It's the first time we have films from Mongolia this year, and it was. I think it's important for us. It's important to try to represent all the countries the festival represents. That's 27 countries in South and Southeast Asia, and we chose this film just because we thought that they were good and that we really liked them, and that it was a good opportunity to give them a voice and some place here in Sweden, because it's not often that we can see a Mongolian film in theaters in Sweden.
3 Mongolian films are being screened on this annual festival. These films will be screened for an entire month, starting from October 1st. On this occasion, we are seeking the opportunity to promote Mongolian culture and customs, as well as cuisine to Nordic people and their Swedish audience.
As part of the Asian Film Festival, a Mongolian night promotional event was organized at the Grand Cinema in Stockholm, and short videos showing horsehead fiddle performances, national culture, customs, and natural sightseeing places related contents were presented to the audience. In addition, an event to promote the Mongolian national script, dairy products, and sweets was also organized.
I have just watched the movie Woman. As a viewer and a person who lived in Scandinavia for more than 20 years, I think the movie did manage to show and convey the idea of the Mongolian nomadic lifestyle and philosophy of life, as well as showing Mongolia's beautiful nature. And I want to congratulate our filmmakers for displaying their movies for the first time in Northern Europe.
The Mongolian films will be screened for an entire month, and the festival will take place in 6 other cities as well.
On September 29th, the Mongolian British Chamber of Commerce successfully organized another event at Goodman Dairy Claw Farm. This is the first public event organized since the outbreak of COVID-19.
The event was attended by representatives of British business organizations, Mongolian professionals living and working in the UK, and Mongolian students enrolled in the Tuning Scholarship Program. This year, the Mongolian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Tolak, is completing his tenure.
And this is our first event since the lockdown. We're saying goodbye to Ambassador Tulga, who's coming towards the end of his term here in London. But we're also welcoming many young Mongolians, Chevening scholars who have just started studying at some of the UK's best universities, and also young Mongolians who are working in firms and companies here in London. And there's 1 or 2 investors here who are thinking of investing in Mongolia. But we're looking forward to the future. We're hoping to welcome the President of Mongolia to the very important conference on climate change, which is happening in Scotland in the United Kingdom in November.
My own connection with Mongolia goes back over 10 years. When I first went to Mongolia in connection with the mining work that my firm did, in connection with the London Stock Exchange and the Mongolian Stock Exchange, which had a joint venture together. And since then, my connection has been with the British Mongolian Chamber of Commerce, which acts as a gateway between Mongolia and the UK.
I'm the recipient of the 2021 to 2022 Tuning Scholarship Award. Currently, I'm enrolled to London School of Economics and Political Sciences and will obtain my master's degree in Social Innovation and Business Startup. 9 students from Mongolia come here to UK to enroll in their master's degree courses. They are majoring in the insurance, project management, and finance and accounting.
Until now, around 150 Mongolian students have received a Turing Scholarship from the government of UK. Mongolia established diplomatic relations with the United Kingdom in 1963, and currently around 4,000 Mongolians live and work in the country.
It is possible to recycle animal and carcass waste and product compost. Entities that come up with innovations in this field gathered at Sohwata Square to display their new solutions.
In our country, 10 million livestock are killed every year. That process generates 200,000 tons of garbage. Remarkably, by recycling all types of animal carcass waste that are both disposed of on the ground surface as well as buried underground, it is possible to produce compost for plants.
The waste from animal carcasses is usually left alone and it would rot and smell. We're recycling it and making it into composting for plants. This is quite a satisfactory solution as it produces organic composting.
Another way of producing compost was displayed during the fair. Tumushoot LLC accumulates 25,000 tons of bird droppings. Currently, 100% of the bird manure is now recycled by the company, which produces 2,500 tons of compost annually.
Composting would require 300 years to be generated naturally. However, at our Tumushoot company, we are producing nutrient-rich composting in 45 days.
Ulaanbaatar city alone produces 1.4 million tons of garbage a year. As of now, only about 24% of the garbage is being recycled and the rest are just dumped at landfills. It was noted that in order to intensify recycling, citizens should acquire good habits and get more familiar with recycling.
Around 130 recycling centers are functioning. Garbage is free and you can pick the garbage and deliver it to the recycling centers and make money out of it.
It is possible to meet the domestic need for compost with domestic products. It was noted by the fair participants that in order to increase these kinds of good practices, it is important to support them with a government policy.
Now let's see what's happened in the sports industry this week. The freestyle wrestling event of the Oslo 2021 World Championships ended on Thursday, and the Mongolian team finished competitions with a total of 6 bronze medals. The Mongolian women's national team, which won 4 bronze medals, finished third with 78 points from 34 countries and won the bronze trophy. Mongolian female wrestlers are on the podium for the first time since their team finished second at the 2013 World Championships in Budapest, Hungary. The Japanese women's team, none of the athletes who participated in the Tokyo Olympics came to Oslo. Japan, which sent only a handful of youngsters, was the undisputed leader with 196 points, followed by the United States with 147 points. Dawachim Girkhambayr, a member of the Hilton Sports Committee, competed in the women's 57 kg weight category. She won the 5th bronze medal for the Mongolian team. This is the 68th medal in the history of the Mongolian Freestyle Wrestling World Cup, and her medal in the 57 kg weight class is the first for a female wrestler. Dawachimik defeated Elvira Kamaloglu of Turkey, the bronze medalist of this year's World Youth Championships 11-0, but lost in the quarterfinals to Anshud of India, the junior world champion, junior youth and adult Asian champion. On the next day, she defeated this year's youth world champion 19-year-old Nilufar Raimova of Kazakhstan with a score of 10-0 and the bronze medalist of the 2020 European Championships, Ukraine's Solomia Vinik, and won the bronze medal. Batrchau Shovter, a member of the Aurach Sports Committee, won a bronze medal in the 59 kg weight category. She defeated Maya Nielsen of the United States, the 2017 World Youth Champion and this year's Pan American champion 4-3 in a very tough fight to decide whether to stay with the medal. Shovter has won medals at the last 4 World Cups and won the 3rd bronze medal in a row. She became the 6th Mongolian wrestler to win 3 or more medals, according to the Mongolian Freestyle Wrestling Federation. The silver medalist of the 2018 World Junior Wrestling Championships, the bronze medalist of the 2019 and 2020 Adult Wrestling World Championships, the young athlete and master of sports of the Jenko Club, Otranjargal Tagdorch, faced the world champions for the first time in the women's 50 kg weight category. In the fight for the bronze medal, she defeated the experienced Romanian wrestler Alina Vuci, who won a silver medal in the finals of the 2017 and 2019 World Cups. Well, that's all for this week. We will see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.